Some neighbors wave when you drive by, some bring over a plate of cookies when you move in, and then there are neighbors like mine, the kind who weaponize a smile and treat a mailbox like it's a punching bag. The first time my box got crushed, I thought maybe it was a delivery truck gone wild. The second time, I knew she was aiming. And by the third, every dent felt like a message: get out, or I'll make you wish you had. You don't realize how fragile the idea of home is until someone starts treating it like a target in broad daylight. Until you see your lawn torn up with tire marks and your so-called community leader grinning behind the wheel like she just won a prize. That's when you start asking yourself, how far is this person willing to go? When we moved into Brookside Estates, I told my wife, we hit the jackpot. I was 36, retired early from the police force after an injury, and trying to reinvent myself as a private investigator. My wife, Taylor, she's a creative soul, graphic designer, loves documenting everything online. We wanted calm, quiet, maybe the kind of neighborhood where the biggest scandal was someone's Christmas lights staying up until February. For the first week, that's exactly what we got. Perfect lawns, kids riding bikes, people waving from their porches. It felt almost too good. Then came Heather. 50-something, tailored suit at 10 in the morning, white SUV parked halfway across my driveway like she owned it. She introduced herself with a saccharine smile. I'm Heather, your HOA president. I do hope you'll be more cooperative than the last family. Poor folks moved out after, well, a string of unfortunate mailbox incidents. She laughed, sharp and fake, and I swear my stomach turned. Who opens a welcome with threats wrapped in honey? The next morning, my mailbox was snapped in half like a toothpick. When I called her, she didn't miss a beat. Oh, dear, I noticed it was an inch outside the line. Delivery trucks need clearance. Accidents happen. She even offered me her contractor, like she was doing me a favor. I rebuilt it myself, measuring 3 times, while Taylor took photos and shook her head. This is crazy, she said. 1 inch doesn't make someone drive up into your yard. Look at the tire marks. They curved into it. She was right. Someone wasn't just bumping into our mailbox. They were gunning for it. By the time it happened again, I stopped pretending. Officer who came out barely glanced at the wreckage. Without proof of intent, it's just an accident. Get a camera. He left before I could even ask for a report. That told me everything. I was on my own. At the next HOA meeting, I confronted Heather. The room was packed with neighbors, but no one would meet my eyes. Really? You think being 1 inch off deserves this? I asked. Her smile didn't even flicker. Rules are rules, Mr. Cooper. Precision matters. Perhaps you're just not used to communities with standards. The way she said standards made it clear she thought we didn't belong. I'd heard gang leaders threaten people with more politeness. That night, Taylor hugged me from behind and whispered, "You're not going to let her run us out, right?" I knew she was right. It wasn't about mailboxes. It was about control, about power. And Heather was testing how far she could push. Taylor dug through records like a bloodhound. Within a week, she found 5 families who had gone up against Heather on HOA votes. Every single one left after accidents started piling up. Mailboxes, fences, gardens. She showed me screenshots of old posts, fines, damage, intimidation. It was a pattern, systematic harassment. Then an elderly neighbor, Mr. Grant, shuffled over one afternoon, hands trembling, voice low. She targets anyone who stands in her way. I've been watching for 2 years. Families move out. She cashes in on their fines. Careful, son. She's good at covering her tracks. The next morning, a violation notice was taped to my door in neon orange. $300 for installing a doorbell camera without architectural approval. I laughed out loud. She was fining me for documenting her crimes. That's when it clicked. She wasn't just running a strict HOA. She was running a racket. And I was either going to fold like the others, or I was going to fight back. That night, while flipping through bylaws, I found the loophole. Mailboxes had endless rules about size, color, and numbers, but not one word about materials. A plan hit me like lightning. If she wanted to keep running over my mailbox, fine. This time I'd make sure the mailbox hit back. 2 weeks later, a contractor buried 4 feet of reinforced concrete and steel into my yard. From the outside, it looked like every other mailbox on the block. Inside, it was a tank, impact sensors, cloud-linked cameras, the works. Cost me $2,500, but I didn't hesitate. Sometimes you pay for peace of mind. Saturday morning, Just past dawn, I was sipping coffee when I heard it, the growl of an engine revving up. Her SUV came tearing down the street and smashed head-on into the new mailbox. The sound was like a drum hit, loud enough to wake the whole block. When I ran out, she was standing there stunned, staring at her crumpled bumper while my mailbox stood untouched. "What did you do?" she shrieked, her voice cracking. "That's not legal. That's a trap. I'm calling my lawyer." I held up my phone, calm as could be. "Actually, this video shows you ramming my property at 6 in the morning. That's criminal mischief. Want me to call the cops? Or should we watch it together?" Neighbors came out in robes. One even started clapping. She jumped back into her SUV, bumper dragging, and sped off in humiliation. For a brief moment, I felt pure satisfaction, but then reality hit me. I'd just stripped her mask in public. And people like Heather? They don't forgive. They retaliate. Sure enough, the next day, 17 violation notices were taped to my door. Fines for things like grass too neat or house numbers too round. Nearly $5,000 in total. My wife was furious. "She's trying to bankrupt us," Taylor said, voice trembling. But I saw it differently. "She's panicking. These fines, dated the day after she hit my mailbox, they're evidence of retaliation. She's building our case." With Mr. Grant's help, we gathered stories from neighbors. A widow forced to bulldoze her late husband's memorial garden. Families fined thousands for nonsense. One even showed us receipts for refreshments at HOA meetings that never happened. All roads pointed to the same thing: fraud. That's when Mr. Grant revealed his past. He wasn't just a retiree, he was a former prosecutor. He'd been watching Heather for years, documenting embezzlement, missing funds, phantom votes on the HOA board. My evidence was the missing piece. "You've got the skills to finish this," he told me. "But be ready. When people like her realize the walls are closing in, they make mistakes. Big ones." And he was right. Days later, Heather showed up at my door flanked by 2 lawyers. "Your mailbox is a booby trap. We're suing for damages, emotional distress, and punitive fees," she sneered, shoving papers at me. Before I could answer, Mr. Grant stepped out of my kitchen with a mug of coffee. "Interesting theory, Heather. Would you like to explain it to the state attorney's office?" The way her lawyers froze told me everything. They knew his name, knew his reputation. Heather's bravado cracked for the first time. That night, Taylor showed me a video she'd found online. Heather, drunk at a wine bar, bragging to friends. "I run those idiots out one mailbox at a time. Made $40,000 this year in fines alone." She even mocked a neighbor's kid who cried when she came around. It wasn't just evidence, it was a confession. Grant turned it all over to the state. A sting was set. Hidden cameras, unmarked cars, floodlights ready. My job was simple: bait her. So I posted a photo of the new reinforced mailbox, stronger than ever. Within an hour, Heather had viewed it. The trap was set. 2 a.m. that Saturday, her SUV crept down the street, plates covered in mud. She revved the engine, backed up 30 feet, then floored it. Just as she hit top speed, floodlights snapped on, blinding bright. Police cars boxed her in. Airbag exploded in her face as her SUV crumpled against the unshaken mailbox. "This is entrapment," she screamed as officers dragged her out. "Do you know who I am? I donate to campaigns." Nobody cared. Officer Martinez, the same one who dismissed me weeks ago, was now Mirandizing her for vandalism, fraud, harassment, theft of HOA funds. Neighbors poured out, cheering, clapping, some even crying. For the first time in years, people weren't scared of her anymore. Heather pled out eventually. 2 years probation, 300 hours of community service, most of it at the post office, sorting the very mail she used to destroy. Her house foreclosed, new family moved in. And our neighborhood? It bloomed. Grant was elected HOA president unanimously, refunded $70,000 in bogus fines, and rewrote the rules to give power back to residents. As for my mailbox, it still stands, steel and concrete, with a plaque that reads, "This box survived 37 impacts and 1 bully." A reminder that sometimes the best defense is refusing to be a victim. Tour buses of anti-HOA groups have even stopped by to take photos. Funny how a box for bills and junk mail turned into a monument. Sometimes, when I see Heather delivering mail in her uniform, rain soaking her through, I almost feel sorry for her, almost. Then I remember the widow's tears over her bulldozed garden, the Johnson kids too scared to get the mail, the families who lost their homes. and the sympathy vanishes. People ask if I went too far. Maybe I should have just moved like the others. But here's what I know. When someone turns a neighborhood into their own petty kingdom, standing up isn't revenge, it's survival. And sometimes the smallest battles, like one battered mailbox, can change the whole map if you fight them hard enough. So now I'll throw the question to you. If you were in my shoes, would you have done the same? Or would you have packed up and left? Drop your thoughts down below. Let's hear your take on justice, revenge, and what home really means. And if you've got your own HOA horror story, trust me, we'd all love to hear it.